We are always searching for answers to the universe's great mysteries and human history. One of the enduring questions is whether the forbidden Book of Enoch is the key to unlocking ancient mysteries. While this book is not officially recognized as part of the Bible, it contains mysterious prophecies and images of heaven, demons, and the union of humans and angels. Since ancient times, many have regarded the Book of Enoch as a spiritual treasure, containing profound lessons from God, especially about justice, loyalty, and sin. Could these messages help us unlock the mysteries of the ancient world and realize the connection between humans and God? In this article, we will explore the lessons God wants to convey through the Book of Enoch and see if it can help us find our path to spiritual clarity and restoration in today's world. Number 1. The taboo and mystery of the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch, one of the most mysterious books in religious tradition, has been and remains controversial throughout history. Although not recognized as an official Bible in Western churches, the Book of Enoch is essential in other traditions, especially in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. The stories in this book are not only about angels and humans, but also contain prophecies about the end of the world and God's final judgment. One of the prominent elements in the Book of Enoch is the story of the rebellion of angels. These angels, called Watchers, left heaven and came to earth to mate with human women. They gave birth to generations of Nephilim, giants with extraordinary strength. This transgression by the angels was not only an act of rebellion against God's command, but also the leading cause of the Anurai to a terrible judgment from God. The story of the fallen angels does not end there. The Book of Enoch also describes how the angels imparted forbidden knowledge to humanity, from magic to understanding astronomy, medicine, and many secrets of the universe. This knowledge, although seemingly useful, became a source of corruption and disorder in the order that God had created. This raises a major question about the balance between knowledge and humility in humans. One of the major themes of the Book of Enoch is the prophecy of the end of the world and judgment. In the book's final chapters, the author describes a terrifying scene of the final judgment, where the wicked will be punished and the righteous will be saved. The Book of Enoch depicts this judgment as a terrible event, with images of destruction and salvation. These images not only reflect the hope of salvation, but also warn of the destruction that awaits those who live in sin. However, the Book of Enoch is not included in the official Bibles of Western churches, such as the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox. The main reason is that the themes in the book are too controversial and do not fit into the orthodox doctrines of Christianity. Church fathers such as Tertullian and Augustine criticized the Book of Enoch because it deals with ideas that they considered inconsistent with the doctrines of redemption and revelation. One of the major problems is that the book describes angels as being associated with humans, which they consider unacceptable within the framework of Christian doctrine. Although it was rejected in Western churches, the Book of Enoch is preserved and considered an essential part of the Bible of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. This is one of the oldest churches, and in their tradition, the Book of Enoch plays an essential role in explaining matters of angels, the end of the world, and God's judgment. The Book of Enoch is considered a sacred source, despite its exclusion from the Western churches. The difference in the recognition of the Book of Enoch among churches is a clear example of the division within Christianity. While the Ethiopian Orthodox Church considers the Book of Enoch an integral part of its faith, the Western churches exclude it for doctrinal reasons. This raises the question of the diversity in how the sacred books are viewed and interpreted by different religious communities. Although not widely accepted in the Western churches, the Book of Enoch has had a profound influence in early Christian communities, especially in the Gnostic sects. Stories of fallen angels and the world's end have helped shape how Christianity views angels and other supernatural beings. These ideas have influenced several passages in other biblical books, such as Genesis and Peter, which mention fallen angels and events in the early days of humanity. The influence of the Book of Enoch extends beyond the Bible to other religious texts. The sections on the Nephilim and the angelic rebellion influenced how later generations of Christians understood angels and essential events in human spiritual history. These ideas became the basis for discussing good and evil, heaven and hell, and human interactions with supernatural forces. In conclusion, the Book of Enoch is controversial and confusing, but it raises important questions about angels, human understanding, and the world's end. Although it is not widely recognized in the Bible, it is still of great value to those seeking insight into the mystical and prophetic aspects of the faith. The lessons from the Book of Enoch, though considered taboo or dismissed, still have great influence on the religious world today and help us reflect on the relationships between nature, humans, and God. Number 2. When Angels Came to Earth, Lessons from Unjust Intervention. In a world filled with mysteries and myths, the Book of Enoch stands out as a shining light, opening up the hidden corners of the relationship between humans and supernatural forces. Written more than 2,000 years ago, the Book of Enoch contains powerful lessons about angelic intervention in the human world, the temptation of forbidden knowledge, and the dire consequences it brings. The stories in the Book of Enoch are not only ancient myths, but also vivid warnings about the power of error and the price we pay when we stray from the path God has laid out. The Watchers and Unjust Intervention. The first text in the Book of Enoch, called the Book of the Watchers, tells the story of angels or watchers, divine beings from heaven who decide to come to earth to intervene in the lives of men. In these ancient texts, we find the image of fallen angels, great and powerful beings, but succumbing to an irresistible temptation, curiosity, and the desire to dominate the human world. According to the Book of Enoch, these angels not only disobeyed God's command by coming to earth, but also committed a more serious sin. They taught men forbidden knowledge. This knowledge, which was a secret beyond human understanding, included magic, astrology, and weapons of war. These things were not only capable of causing physical harm, but also led men away from the light of God, away from the path of righteousness, and into the darkness of sin. Nephilim, cursed monsters. One of the most serious results of this intervention was the appearance of the Nephilim, hybrid creatures of angelic and human origins. According to the Book of Enoch, the Nephilim were giant creatures, possessed of extraordinary strength and a brutal nature, who threw the world into chaos and bloodshed. These monsters not only spread terror, but also disrupted the natural order that God had created. They symbolized the abuse of power and corruption, when those given power beyond human capacity used it to dominate and kill. Forbidden knowledge. The path to fallenness. The temptation of forbidden knowledge is not new. It has been present since the earliest days of humanity, when Eve in the Garden of Eden was tempted by the forbidden fruit and led to the fall of humanity. The Book of Enoch highlights another aspect of this temptation, the spread of secret knowledge, things that humanity was not meant to know. When angels taught humans dangerous skills such as magic and astrology, they opened the door to sin and separation from God. This story is not just a myth, but also a lesson about the need to maintain purity and loyalty to God. When people begin to seek power from evil sources and go against God's will, they will face serious consequences. This event shows that touching the forbidden will lead to chaos and destruction, like in the Garden of Eden. Lessons from the Book of Enoch. Although the Book of Enoch is not included in the official Bible of most sects, it still contains profound lessons about pride and the consequences of crossing the boundaries that God has set for humanity. The story of the angelic intervention on earth is not just a myth, but also a warning about the mistakes of humans when they give themselves power and knowledge without respecting the will of the Creator. The Book of Enoch's lesson is clear. Humans cannot abuse power and knowledge without paying the price. When we turn away from God and seek shortcuts, easy solutions without thinking about the consequences, we will pay a heavy price. The fallen angels left the glory of heaven to intervene in the human world, but they suffered severe punishment. Humans are no exception. We will face destruction when we step off the path God has laid out. In today's life, the allure of knowledge and power is always a great temptation. But as the Book of Enoch and the lessons of the Bible show, if we do not put God first, we will pay the price for our arrogance. We must always keep humility in our hearts and be faithful to God's word, lest we fall into the trap of forbidden knowledge and evil power. Number 3. Judgment and Hope, Lessons from the Flood. In the pages of the Bible and its supporting books, the story of God's judgment and the flood is not only a lesson in justice, but also a powerful warning to humanity about the consequences of the fall and the need for purification. Although the Book of Enoch is not accepted as part of the canon of the Bible in most churches, it does provide insight into the events before and after the flood, especially the role of fallen angels, creatures called Nephilim, and prophecies about the return of the Messiah. Here are highlights from the Book of Enoch, tied to important lessons for our lives and faith. The flood described in the Book of Enoch is not just a natural disaster, but God's punishment of fallen angels, creatures called watchers. According to the Book of Enoch, the watchers were tasked with caring for and guiding humanity, but instead of following God's command, they broke their assigned limits, left heaven, and mated with the daughters of men. This action led to the birth of the Nephilim, giant, evil, and destructive creatures who defiled and ruined the earth. The story in the Book of Enoch provides a clear perspective on why the Great Flood happened. God, in His absolute justice, decided to destroy all life in order to cleanse the earth of the sin and defilement brought by these fallen angels. In a dialogue between the faithful angels and God, He ordered the Great Flood, a punishment not only for humanity but also for the angels who had gone astray, failing to fulfill the purpose God had entrusted to them. At the same time, the Book of Enoch is not only focused on judgment, but also reveals an essential truth about the return of the Messiah. In the Book of Enoch, the Son of Man, the Messiah, is described as coming at the end of time, bringing justice and restoration. He will establish God's kingdom on earth, where there will be only justice and peace. This is a clear vision of Christ in the New Testament, when He returns to complete the work of redemption and final judgment. This story shows that, although sin may reign for a time, in the end, God's justice will prevail, and all will be restored. The story of the Nephilim in the Book of Enoch also offers profound lessons about sin and the consequences of violating the limits set by God. The Watchers, angels who were supposed to help humanity, fell into temptation and made things worse. They revealed heavenly secrets to mankind, things that should not be known. From magic to knowledge that could lead people down the path of sin. The result was the birth of the Nephilim, giant and brutal creatures who corrupted the earth. When these creatures died, they became evil spirits, not only continuing to cause trouble, but also spreading chaos, war, and suffering on earth until the end of time. In this context, God's judgment is not just an act of punishment, but a necessary cleansing to protect justice and create an environment where mankind can live in peace and worship God. This cleansing is an image of restoration and hope, that although evil and sin may be polluted, God's redemption and justice will ultimately prevail. The flood events in Genesis and the Book of Enoch both show God's severe judgment on sin and corruption. However, the Book of Enoch expands the story by providing further details about the transgression of angels and the Nephilim's association with demonic forces on earth. Both books emphasize that God's justice cannot be stopped and that what is not of Him will be destroyed. What is essential is not just judgment and punishment, but the hope and restoration that God promises to bring. The prophecies in the Book of Enoch about the return of the Messiah are not just a warning, but also a promise that those who live righteously will be saved. Christ will return to defeat the forces of evil, destroy the Nephilim and all who defile the earth. He will establish a kingdom of justice where all things will be made new and humanity will live in peace with God. Ultimately, the story of God's judgment and the flood is not just a lesson in punishment, but also a reminder of hope and restoration in God's justice. While there may be suffering and trials in this life, the return of the Messiah will bring everlasting justice and peace, where all things will be restored to the way God intended. This story not only teaches us about the dangers of sin, but also encourages us to live righteously, to trust in redemption, and to hope in the restoration of God's kingdom. Number 4. Harmony with Heaven. Cosmic, Mystery and Prophecy, from the Book of Enoch. In Enoch's visions, the universe is not a random entity but a perfect system maintained by an excellent order. Every part of this universe, from the angels to the stars, has a divine mission to help maintain the balance of the world. The Book of Enoch not only offers mystical images, but also serves as a reminder of the profound relationship between heaven and man. We, the people living on earth, need to be aware that harmony in the universe can only exist when we respect the divine order that God has established. The divine court and the final judgment. One of the highlights of the Book of Enoch is the image of a divine court, where God and the gods will judge all the actions of humans and the angels who have betrayed. This judgment is not just a division between good and evil, but also a warning to all generations. Every sinful act of man, every moral violation, will have to face the justice of God. In this court, we cannot escape judgment. all must be held accountable for our actions. The rebellious angels, such as Azazel and Samyesa, will be severely punished. They are the ones who taught men secret knowledge, corrupted morality, and disrupted the cosmic order. They are imprisoned in a dark place, awaiting the final judgment of God. This reminds men to live by moral principles and believe in God's justice. The order of the universe and the role of the ruling angels. The cosmic order in the Book of Enoch is described as a perfect system, where everything has a distinct role. The angels who govern celestial bodies, such as the sun, moon, and stars, not only ensure the functioning of the universe, but also maintain harmony among the natural elements. Each angel has his or her duties, from regulating the sun's movement, creating day and night, to controlling the cycles of the stars and the seasons. If any angel violates his or her duties, disruption occurs. This not only causes chaos in the universe, but also directly affects human life. When the order of the universe is disrupted, we not only face changes in climate and environment, but also suffer negative spiritual and moral effects. Harmony in the universe and relationship with humans. The Book of Enoch emphasizes that the universe is meticulously designed, not by accident but with purpose. Each star, each planet, has a specific mission, and they all play a role in maintaining the harmony and stability of the world. Harmony is not only physical balance, but also reflects moral and ethical justice. When angels rebel, they disrupt the natural order, causing adverse effects on the universe and human life. The relationship between earth and heaven is very close. Human actions, especially when we violate moral principles, will lead to spiritual and material chaos. According to the Book of Enoch, restoring order to the universe can only be achieved when humans become aware of this connection and return to God's justice. Sacred astronomy in the Book of Enoch. In addition to describing the order of nature and the role of angels, the Book of Enoch also portrays astronomy as a divine science. The visions in this book provide not only information about the workings of the heavenly bodies, but also reveal that this knowledge was given to Enoch by angels. This is not ordinary knowledge, but sacred secrets of the universe. This book of astronomy talks about the formation of the stars, the sun and the moon, and astronomical phenomena such as eclipses. This knowledge is not only scientific but also reflects a profound understanding of the relationship between the heavens and the material world. Angels are not only divine beings who maintain order, but also teachers who bestow upon humans the secrets of the universe, human limitations, and the need to obey the angelic order. One of the important messages of the Book of Enoch is that humans cannot fully understand or control all the elements in the universe. Our understanding of the natural world may be only a small part of the universe's secrets that God has created. Angels are beings who are capable of maintaining the order of the universe, and only they can understand and control all of these elements. We, humans living on Earth, can achieve harmony with heaven only when we live according to the natural laws that the angels have established. Obeying the angelic order not only helps us maintain spiritual stability, but also helps us find peace in life. The Book of Enoch is not only a mystical work, but also a profound lesson about the harmony of the universe and the relationship between heaven and humans. It is a powerful reminder to live by moral principles and always respect the order that God has established. Only when we live in obedience and understanding can we achieve harmony with heaven and realize the sacred secrets of the universe. Number 5. The Eternal Kingdom and the Return of the Messiah. The book Dream Visions opens a series of profound visions of the destiny of Israel and the coming of the Messianic kingdom. The images in the book not only speak of the rise and fall of nations, but also predict the ultimate victory of the righteous. It is a story of resurrection and justice, where Israel becomes the center of eternal grace and peace. These visions all point to a glorious future when the Messiah rules a kingdom without war, only harmony and justice. In dream visions, animals are used as symbols for nations and peoples, a familiar form in the Bible, especially in Daniel and Revelation. These symbols are not simply representations, but carry profound meaning, reflecting the rise and fall of empires while affirming the ultimate power of the Messiah. Israel. In the visions, these are depicted as sheep. The sheep in the Bible are not only images of weakness and vulnerability, but also of trust in God's protection. This image is a reminder of the restoration and glory of Israel, a people who will be led and protected by the Messiah. Despite years of oppression and attack, the people will stand firm, thanks to the promise of salvation and protection from God. Israel's enemies throughout history have been symbolized by wild animals. These animals represent the nations and empires that have oppressed and attacked Israel. From Babylon to the Roman Empire, these empires were depicted as wild animals, brutal, mindless, and unjust. In contrast to Israel's weakness and endurance, these animals represent oppression and injustice. However, these wild animals also symbolize the final punishment that will befall the enemies of justice when the Messiah returns to restore order. The long-awaited Messiah is the one who will rescue Israel from its enemies and establish a kingdom of everlasting peace. In the dream visions, the Messiah is depicted not only as a military leader, but also as the one who brings spiritual resurrection to all mankind. He will not only restore Israel, but also bring peace to all nations. The Messianic kingdom that he will establish will be a place where there will be no more war, conflict, or injustice. All people will live in harmony and justice under the Messiah's rule. The role of the Messiah is not only that of a protector, but also that of a spiritual changer to the world. When he returns, Israel will be victorious over all its enemies, and the Messianic kingdom will be established in absolute unity. This kingdom is militarily strong and filled with justice and peace. This kingdom will be a sign of complete restoration, not only of Israel, but of all the nations and peoples of the world. One of the important features of the dream visions is the warning of the fall of the nations and empires that have oppressed Israel. These nations will face God's judgment, and their defeat is inevitable. This is a prophecy of the punishment that will befall the enemies of justice. God will not allow the oppressors to continue in power. This judgment will be an affirmation of God's absolute power and the glorification of justice. Finally, the Dream Visions book not only describes the rise of the Messianic kingdom, but also paints a picture of an eternal kingdom. This kingdom will be a place where there will be no war, strife, or injustice. This is a place where people will live in harmony, in closeness to God, where justice and peace will prevail. This kingdom is not an earthly nation, but a complete restoration of the heavenly order on earth. Dream Visions is not just a book of visions about Israel, but also a prophecy about the future of humanity. This book reminds us of the need to live in justice and peace, and that the rise of the Messiah will bring restoration to all people. When the Messiah's kingdom is established, it will fulfill the promise of a world without war, without suffering, where justice will reign forever. With the return of the Messiah, all of God's promises will be fulfilled. The restoration of Israel and the establishment of the kingdom of peace will not be just the victory of one people, but the victory of all who believe in God's righteousness. When the Messiah returns, we will all be ushered into a time of glory and peace, where God's presence will be everywhere. Number 6. The divine universe, the connection between the physical and the spiritual worlds. In the Book of Enoch, the relationship between the spiritual and the physical is described in a profound way, with a connection not only between natural elements, but also between the universe and the divine order established by God. Enoch depicts the universe as a physical space and a reflection of the divine commands from the Creator, thereby showing that everything in this world has a profound spiritual purpose. The universe in the Book of Enoch is not simply a place where celestial bodies operate according to natural laws, but also a reflection of a divine order, where every event in nature has a divine meaning. Natural phenomena such as the movements of the sun, moon, and stars are not only the result of physical laws, but also signs of God's will, His care for this universe. In the Book of Enoch, the celestial Hathos, the angels, especially the group of angels known as the Watchers, are not only tasked with observing humanity, but are also directly involved in managing natural phenomena. According to God's command, these angels oversee and maintain the operation of the seasons, the solar system, and even the stars. They are the administrators of the universe, ensuring that everything in nature proceeds according to divine intent. The way the sun and moon move in the Book of Enoch is also not just a description of regular physical movements. Each day-night cycle and change of season is not simply part of the natural cycle, but also reflects a divine cycle set by God from the beginning. Each small change in the movement of these heavenly bodies is a manifestation of a divine command from the Creator to remind humanity of His presence and power. Furthermore, the cosmos in the Book of Enoch is portrayed as a moral symbol, where the harmony between the material and spiritual worlds influence each other. The proper functioning of the celestial bodies manifests justice and morality in the universe. If celestial bodies such as the sun, moon, and stars follow God's order, then humans must also live according to those divine commands to maintain harmony between the material and spiritual worlds. This reminds each of us that every action, no matter how small, has a profound impact on the spiritual world, and we cannot live apart from the divine principles that God has set. One of the special elements in the Book of Enoch is the use of the cosmos as a tool to warn humans of upcoming events, including divine judgments. Strange changes in natural phenomena, such as unusual shifts in the sun's cycles or strange phenomena in the sky, are seen as signs of coming judgments from God. These are clear warnings of human injustice, reminding us that every action in this world has a reflection in the spiritual world, and every decision we make has consequences, not only in the physical world, but also in the kingdom of God. The Book of Enoch is not just a simple piece of religious literature, but a comprehensive picture of the relationship between the universe, God, and humanity. It teaches us that the physical and spiritual worlds are not separate but closely connected elements, and that every action in this life carries a sacred value and has a lasting impact on our destiny. The teachings of the Book of Enoch, while confusing to those who do not fully understand them, contain profound and essential messages for those seeking to understand God's relationship with the universe. It reminds us that we cannot live apart from God's concern for this world. Everything from the cosmos to the small events of our daily lives is under His watchful eye and control. The universe is not just a physical space, but a perfect reflection of God's infinite wisdom and power. When we look up at the sky, we do not see just stars and planets, but a sign of God's eternal presence, the divine guidance He has given us. Thus, through every movement of the celestial bodies, every change in nature, God is reminding us of the intimate connection between the physical and spiritual worlds and of our responsibility to maintain the divine order He has set in place. Looking at this universe, we do not see just a physical world, but a reminder that each of us has a place in God's divine plan. We are not separate individuals, but part of a greater whole, a harmonious universe under God's stewardship. So, when we look to the heavens, let us remember that it is there that God is drawing the map of this world, and we are the ones who must live by divine principles to maintain harmony between the physical and spiritual realms. As we ponder whether the forbidden Book of Enoch holds the key to unlocking the ancient mysteries, we are not simply looking for answers about what happened long ago, but also how these lessons can reach and change our lives today. Whether or not Enoch was a special source of knowledge, the lessons from this book about righteousness, sin, and the awakening of humanity can be necessary signals for us to return to the righteous path that God has taught us. The warnings and expectations from Enoch are not just ancient legends, but invitations to live with discernment, responsibility, and reverence for God. There is no denying that, in today's challenging world, it is necessary to return to divine values and seek deeper understanding from ancient scriptures. Each lesson we learn from these texts, whether through the forbidden book or other parts of the Bible, reminds us of the power of faith, restoration, and the opportunity for individual and community change. So, if you want to continue your journey of discovering these secrets and profound lessons from God, follow and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the following videos where we will learn more about the profound messages in ancient writings.